Hey there, fellow horror enthusiasts. If you're enjoying the spine-chilling content on Twisted Horror Chronicles, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss out on our terrifying tales. We love to connect with our audience and hear your stories too. Have you experienced any eerie encounters with the supernatural, unexplained mysteries, or paranormal phenomena? If so, we'd love to hear about it. Drop your stories in the comments below, and who knows, your tale might be the next one featured on our channel. So join the Twisted Horror Chronicles community and let's journey together into the depths of fear and fascination. Subscribe now, share your spooky stories, and let the horrors unfold. Happy haunting.
I am a seasoned search and rescue SAR officer, but no amount of experience could have prepared me for what I encountered during one fateful mission. We received a distress call from a group of hikers who had gone missing in a remote and treacherous mountain range. As my team and I began our ascent, an eerie feeling washed over me. The dense forest swallowed us whole, and the dim light barely pierced through the canopy. Despite the unease, we pressed on, determined to find the lost hikers. Hours turned into an agonizing eternity, but we finally stumbled upon their campsite. It was abandoned, and the eerie silence that enveloped the area sent shivers down my spine. There were no signs of struggle or foul play, just a lingering sense of dread. We initiated the search, calling out their names as we combed through the dense foliage. The hours stretched on, and the forest seemed to grow darker with each passing minute. Suddenly we heard a faint cry for help. "Over here," a weak voice called out. We rushed toward the sound, our hearts pounding with hope and fear. There, beneath a thick canopy of trees, we found one of the hikers, barely conscious and covered in bruises and scratches. He mumbled about strange figures stalking them, their eyes gleaming in the darkness. As we carried him back to the campsite, the sun began to set, casting long, ominous shadows. The forest came alive with eerie sounds, and the temperature dropped drastically, sending a chill down my spine. Throughout the night, we continued our search, but the other hikers remained elusive. We couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister lurked in the shadows, something beyond our understanding. The next morning, we resumed the search, our nerves frayed and our bodies exhausted. As we followed a narrow trail, we stumbled upon strange markings on the trees, symbols etched into the bark like messages left by an otherworldly force. Hours passed, and just when hope was dwindling, we spotted a faint light in the distance. Our hearts leaped with joy, thinking we had finally found the missing hikers. But as we approached, our excitement turned to horror. In the clearing, we discovered an ancient abandoned cabin, a chilling relic from the past. The door creaked open, revealing a sinister interior filled with strange artifacts and an unsettling energy. It was as if we had stepped into a different dimension, and the air felt charged with an otherworldly presence. Inside, we found the remaining hikers huddled together in fear. They spoke of being chased by shadowy figures, their eyes glowing like embers in the dark. They described a malevolent force that seemed to feed on their fear and confusion. As we prepared to evacuate them, the cabin's walls seemed to close in on us, and a sense of impending doom washed over the entire team. The symbols on the walls seemed to pulsate with an ominous energy, and the air grew heavy with despair. Before we could leave, an eerie silence fell upon us, and a chilling voice echoed through the cabin. "You've stumbled into my domain, a place where the lost are consumed and fear is my sustenance." The terror was palpable, and we fled the cabin, not looking back until we were miles away. The rescue mission haunted us for months, and many of my teammates struggled with nightmares and unexplainable phenomena. To this day, I can't shake the feeling that we had ventured into a realm where the boundaries between our world and the unknown blurred. The experience left me questioning the limits of our reality and the terrors that may lurk beyond our understanding. Lost in the dark, we found more than we ever bargained for: an encounter with the inexplicable, a glimpse into the abyss, and a reminder that there are some places in this world where man was never meant to tread.
The Enigma of Obsession. My name is Emma, and my life took an unexpected turn when I became a popular OnlyFans model. Embracing my body positivity and sexuality, I decided to share my intimate moments and sensuality with my subscribers, building a devoted community that valued empowerment and self-expression. However, as my following grew, I found myself entangled in a web of obsession that would change everything. At the beginning of my OnlyFans journey, everything felt liberating and exhilarating. My subscribers appreciated my content, and I enjoyed connecting with them on a personal level through messages and exclusive streams. Among them, one particular user stood out, Dark Obsidian, who became a constant presence in my life. At first, I found Dark Obsidian to be an enthusiastic fan, showering me with compliments and gifts. But as time passed, his messages became more intimate and possessive, crossing boundaries that left me uneasy. Despite my attempts to set clear boundaries, he persisted, becoming increasingly demanding and obsessive. One day, he sent a video of my apartment complex, eerily revealing he knew where I lived. Panic set in as I realized the gravity of the situation. I confided in my close friends, who urged me to take legal action. But I was torn between my safety and protecting the image of my online persona. Feeling cornered and vulnerable, I decided to address the situation directly with Dark Obsidian through a heartfelt video message. I implored him to respect my boundaries and reminded him that my online presence was just a glimpse into my life, not an invitation for intrusion. The video went viral within my community, and my subscribers rallied behind me, offering their support and encouragement. However, Dark Obsidian's behavior only escalated. He appeared outside my favorite coffee shop, and his ominous presence seemed to lurk around every corner. Fear gnawed at my soul, but I refused to let it consume me. Instead, I installed security cameras and sought the advice of a professional private investigator to ensure my safety. As I continued to share my experiences with my community, my subscribers not only stood by my side, but also actively helped in identifying Dark Obsidian's possible location. Through their combined efforts, they managed to narrow it down to a small town, hours away from my city. With newfound courage and the knowledge that I wasn't alone in this fight, I decided to confront Dark Obsidian directly. I scheduled a public meetup with my subscribers in the town he was believed to be in, under the guise of a fan gathering. My intention was to bring awareness to the situation while staying surrounded by my loyal community. As the event began, I couldn't shake the feeling of apprehension. My heart pounded, but I knew I couldn't back down. The support of my followers, both online and in person, gave me strength. As the meetup progressed, my community noticed a man lingering at the outskirts of the gathering, his eyes fixated on me. It was Dark Obsidian. My pulse quickened, but I had to remain strong. I notified the local authorities, and they swiftly arrived on the scene. Seeing the police, Dark Obsidian attempted to flee, but he was apprehended before he could disappear into the crowd. Justice was finally catching up to him. The support and determination of my OnlyFans community helped me find the strength to see the ordeal through. My subscribers became my true allies, empowering me to take control of my life again. Dark Obsidian was charged with harassment, and I could finally breathe a sigh of relief. In the aftermath, I used my platform to advocate for online safety and mental health, encouraging others to reach out for help when faced with similar situations. My OnlyFans journey transformed from a tale of empowerment to a testament of resilience in the face of adversity. Though the ordeal was difficult, I emerged from it stronger than ever, knowing that I had a community of devoted supporters and friends who would stand by me no matter what. Together, we turned darkness into a beacon of hope, proving that unity and empowerment can triumph over obsession and fear. Be sure to follow us on Twisted Horror Chronicle on TikTok and YouTube.
As a truck driver, I had seen my fair share of eerie sights on the open road, but nothing could have prepared me for the horror that awaited me on a cold and foggy night on the Washington State I-90 near Snoqualmie Pass. It was a desolate stretch of highway surrounded by dense woods that seemed to swallow the road in darkness. The fog was so thick that I could barely see beyond the beams of my headlights. I felt a sense of unease creeping up my spine, but I brushed it off as nerves from the long drive. As I continued down the winding road, I noticed a flickering light in the distance. It looked like someone standing at the edge of the forest, holding a lantern. My heart skipped a beat as I approached the figure, but I couldn't just leave someone stranded in the middle of nowhere. As I drew closer, the figure came into view. A woman, dressed in tattered clothes, her face obscured by shadows. She waved frantically, and my instincts screamed at me to keep driving, but I couldn't ignore her desperate plea for help. I pulled over and rolled down my window, trying to make out her features in the foggy haze. "Are you all right?" I asked, my voice trembling slightly. Her response was a haunting whisper, barely audible above the howling wind. "Help me! He's coming!" Fear gripped me, but before I could react, a deafening silence fell over the surroundings. The woman vanished into thin air, leaving me paralyzed with shock. I rubbed my eyes, questioning my sanity, but there was no denying what I had just witnessed. Shaken, I continued my journey, trying to convince myself it was a trick of the mind. But as I drove, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Shadows danced at the periphery of my vision, and strange sounds echoed through the cab of my truck. Suddenly the radio crackled to life, emitting a series of static-filled whispers. It sounded like voices from another world, desperate and tormented. I tried to turn it off, but the radio seemed to have a life of its own, refusing to obey my commands. The road ahead seemed to stretch infinitely, and a bone-chilling cold seeped into the truck. I pulled my jacket tightly around me, but the chill only intensified. Then, out of the fog, I saw him, a tall, gaunt figure with hollow eyes that seemed to pierce through my soul. His ghastly presence sent terror coursing through my veins. He stepped onto the road, blocking my path. I slammed on the brakes, but the truck seemed to glide straight through him, as if he were a specter. He pointed a bony finger toward the dark woods, and the radio blared with sinister laughter. I had to escape this nightmare, but my truck had become a prison in the grasp of the supernatural. Summoning all my courage, I closed my eyes and whispered a desperate plea for safety. When I opened them, the figure was gone, and the radio returned to its usual static. As I sped away, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had crossed paths with something malevolent, something beyond explanation. To this day, the memories of that haunting night on the Snoqualmie Pass linger, a constant reminder that the open road can lead to encounters with terrors that defy comprehension.
I nervously agreed to a blind date set up through Tinder. Her name was Sarah, and she seemed sweet and genuine in our messages. We decided to meet at a cozy cafe in the heart of the city. As I walked in, my heart raced with anticipation. To my relief, Sarah was even lovelier in person. We hit it off instantly, sharing laughs and stories over coffee. Time flew by, and when she suggested continuing the evening at her place, I hesitated but agreed. After all, our connection felt real, and I felt comfortable with her. As we arrived at her apartment, I noticed her behavior change subtly. She seemed more distant, her smile fading into something colder. Ignoring the uneasy feeling, I tried to brush it off as my imagination. Once inside, she offered me a drink, and as I sipped it, my head began to feel foggy. My vision blurred, and I struggled to maintain my composure. Panic set in as I realized something was terribly wrong. "What? What did you put in my drink?" I stammered, my voice weak. With a sinister smile, she replied, "Nothing personal, just a little something to make you more compliant." Fear coursed through my veins as I tried to stand, but my body refused to cooperate. It was like I was paralyzed, completely at her mercy. The doorbell rang and my heart sank further. Sarah excused herself, leaving me alone and defenseless. I tried to call for help, but my voice was barely a whisper. Moments later, two burly strangers entered the apartment. Sarah introduced them as her associates, and their sinister grins sent shivers down my spine. "You see," Sarah said, circling me like a predator, "you're worth quite a bit of money to the right people. A wealthy individual has a score to settle, and you're the unfortunate pawn in this game." My mind raced, trying to comprehend the horror of the situation. I was set up, manipulated into a trap from which there seemed to be no escape. Suddenly my instincts kicked in, and I mustered all my strength to make a desperate move. I lunged at the nearest window, smashing it with my elbow, and screamed for help as loud as I could. Chaos ensued, and adrenaline surged through my body. With the glass barrier shattered, I managed to crawl out onto the fire escape. The sounds of pursuit echoed behind me, but I pushed on, praying for a way out. In a matter of minutes, I reached the ground, bruised and bleeding, but alive. Without looking back, I ran as fast as my trembling legs would carry me, finally reaching safety. That night left an indelible scar on my soul. It was a reminder that trusting blindly could lead to unimaginable horrors. Tinder had brought me face to face with evil, but it also taught me the importance of intuition and self-preservation. I vowed never to let myself be vulnerable like that again. To always trust my gut and stay cautious in a world where danger could lurk behind the most innocent smiles.
Thanks for watching Twisted Horror Chronicles. If you enjoyed the scares, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell to stay tuned for more terrifying stories. Have a spooky encounter of your own? Submit your stories and you might just see them featured on our next episode. Happy haunting!